for anyone. Okay, so that is not being smart, that is being stupid. Don't quit. Okay, that has happened in the past with my students. So please don't quit the class. Shiva Kumar, make yourself visible. Okay, let us now continue this poem. An elementary school classroom in a slum. In the previous class, we discussed the first stanza and the second stanza. Let me now recall to your mind what we discussed and then proceed with the third stanza. The first stanza talks about the physical condition, the appearance of the children of the slum, the physical condition. In this connection, we came to know about 4 types of children: a tall girl, a paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, then a boy sitting at the back of the classroom, a sweet young boy enjoying the squirrel's game in the tree room other than the classroom. The first 2 lines tell us about their location. They are far away from culture, far away from tradition, far away from exposure, etc. Their faces look like rootless weeds. Rootless weeds are thrown away, discarded. Weeds with roots, at least they are in the field. Rootless weeds are already plucked, they are thrown. So this is what we saw in the first stanza. In the second stanza, we talked about the location of the slum school. The slum school has not been renovated for long. On sour cream walls, donations. Donations, as we discussed, refer to the things or pictures, etc., given by the visitors and politicians who come there occasionally. What are the pictures hung there? Shakespeare's head. Okay, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome, riding all cities. It refers to the pictures that represent the skyscrapers, okay, large buildings, okay, and they are around the slum, okay, they are far away, the slum is far away, and these pictures that are displayed there, they are around the slum, okay. The poet compares them to the rising sun. The rising sun, okay, it comes up from the ground and it goes up and it slowly becomes bright and gives lights to everything. Okay, so in the same way here also, the pictures displayed there represent the rising sun. It rises, but the rising takes place only in the world of the rich. That's what you should keep in mind. The rising sun represents the world of the rich, and here this rising takes place only in the world of the rich, not in the world of the slum children. Please keep that in mind. And another thing is that Shakespeare's head also is picturized. Shakespeare's head, what does it represent? Purani, turn on yourself. Nikita and Rubasri, make yourself visible. Shakespeare's head, it represents again the world of the rich. You know that Shakespeare has no hair. Okay, so that also is compared to the rising sun. Shakespeare has no hair on the head, so that is also compared to the rising sun by the poet. Open-handed map awarding the world its world. The open-handed map that are displayed there in the classroom only represent the world of the rich, awarding the world what it is their due. What has to be represented by them is represented by them. But for these children who are living in the slum, these windows represent the pictures displayed in the classroom that talk about the world of the rich. Not this map, their world. Okay, and that is the world. So their world ends in dreaming, longing to get those things. Longing. Okay, wanting to get, having a deep desire to get it. That is how their world is, and it ends in that. Where their life is, all their life is painted with fog. Where all their future is painted with fog. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. Far from rivers, caves and stars of words. Narrow street. So their slum is narrow. Okay. And that slum is sealed with a lead sky. Okay. Even the light of the sun does not fall properly in the narrow street. So that much restriction, limitation for the children, for the people of the slum. A narrow street, sealed in means covered with a lead sky, covered only with the sky. And where are they again? As we said in the beginning of the lesson, far from gusty waves. They are here again, far from rivers, caves and stars of words. Rivers, you all know, okay, represent wealth. Only in the river you get water. If there is no water, there is no wealth, there is no growth, there is no progress. People get settled near the water. Nobody goes away just because there is water, there is river. They get settled there near the water. Okay, at the sea shore there are people. Okay, because there they get their livelihood. So water represents luxury, wealth. So they are far from rivers, caves, ocean, and stars of words. Stars of words refer to education. No education for them. If there is any question in these two stanzas which we have already discussed and which I have recalled, you can ask me now if there is any question. Okay, please note down your questions if there is any. I shall proceed with the next stanza. Surely, Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example. Nikita, Anush Kumar, Madhyalagan, make yourself visible. Surely, Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with the ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. Shakespeare is considered wicked. You know the meaning of wicked, evil, bad. That's the meaning of wicked. Okay, the poet says, surely, by all means, Shakespeare is wicked. The map a bad example. Why does the poet say it so? Shakespeare is there, his picture is displayed there in the classroom, and it is not an appropriate example. That's the meaning. Please write it down. It is not a relevant example or appropriate example. The same question I will ask you in the examination. Okay. So please make sure that when certain things are told, they are written down. You will also get notes, but there is nothing like writing it down when you attend the class. Shakespeare is wicked. The map is not a very good example because these maps and the pictures of Shakespeare are inappropriate, irrelevant for these people, irrelevant. That is why the poet says Shakespeare is wicked. It does not talk about the real nature of Shakespeare. Okay, it does not talk about the way in which Shakespeare has exhibited himself in the world, but it talks only about the poor example, irrelevant example. That is the meaning of the first line. Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example. And what does it happen? The map with the ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. It only gives them ideas to steal. They don't want to steal. But now, after having seen, after having witnessed the things, okay, the pictures that represent the world of the rich, they are given, okay, some inspiration, okay, some boost by the pictures displayed there to steal those things if they are available somewhere. Suppose they are available, some rich person is having, okay, some expensive things. Okay, they get motivated to go and steal it. They cannot buy because they don't have money, and that is the condition. For lives that slyly, little by little, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes. Their lives, little by little, go into the cramped holes. The holes are already cramped, okay, narrow. And now it becomes more and more cramped and their life is doomed, destroyed. For lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes, from fog to endless night. Fog, is dark. There is no light. And from fog to endless night. Okay, night without end. Okay, there is day, there is night. It is healthy. If there is day and if there is night, it is healthy. During the day, we work, and during the night, we take rest. But for these people, always night. It is a symbolic representation, an imagery, a visual imagery. Endless night can also be considered as visual imagery. What do you mean by visual imagery? When the word is said, when the expression is uttered, the picture is created in your mind. That is here. You can call it as visual imagery. Endless night, from fog to endless night. On their slag heap. Slag heap refers to the slum. On their slag heap, please put it on. Put yourself on. Irish Kalyan, Anush Kumar, Rubashri, Nikita. So on their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones. The slag heap refers to the slum area. Okay, what do these children do? They are wearing skins peeped through by bones. They are not actually wearing the skins of the animals as clothes. That is not the meaning. You should not misunderstand. Okay, here it refers to their physical condition. It looks as if they are wearing the skins. And through the skins, their bones are just peeping through, looking outside. Okay, they look very thinny and bony. I hope you all know this expression, know the meaning of this expression. They look thinny and bony. They look very lean, very lean. Okay, very weak. They are undernourished, malnourished, and their bones, okay, look as if they are peeping through their body, through the bones. Okay, and another imagery here is by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on stones. You know, the broken bottles, broken pieces of glasses. Sometimes you might have also seen broken pieces on the road. Suppose there is a small accident, the glass of the vehicle gets broken and it is there on the road. Okay, it is they are in bits, bottle bits in stones. Okay, they are not in complete shape, and it is difficult to mend them together. It is not possible to put them together. So they are like bottle bits on stones. Okay, their appearance, their bones. What does it tell us about? It tells us about the weak physical condition, undernourished body of the slum children. The last two lines, what does it tell? What does it say? All of their time and space are foggy slum. All their life is only darkness, full of darkness. Kaushik, Anush Kumar, Nikita Selvam, make yourself visible. All of their time and space are foggy slum. Okay, only darkness, misery, misery, misery. So, blot their maps with slums as big as doom. What does it mean? Blot their maps with slums as big as doom. See, the world that are represented, the world that is represented through the map is the world of the rich. So, blot their maps, remove their maps, throw their maps. Okay, that's the meaning. Throw it away. Throw their maps. So, blot their maps with the slums as big as doom. Destroy it completely. It does not say that the world of the rich should be destroyed completely. What does it say then? It tells us that these people living in the slum must rise up, okay, for themselves and fight for their cause. What is their cause? Their cause is basic facilities like education, okay, food, water, house. Okay, all these things should also be given to them. They should also be able to live in the same way like that of the people who are living in the mainstream of the society. So this is the explanation of the third stanza. Now, to make sure that I have taught properly, let me ask you questions. If you know the answer, you say it correctly. If you don't know the answer, you say it wrongly. No problem. Okay? But I want you to speak. Only when you speak, I get the, confirmation that things are clear. Alright. The first question. Let me ask the first question to Hemalata. Hemalata should answer this question. Why does the poet say that Shakespeare is wicked? Hemalata. Why is Shakespeare considered wicked? Are you present, Hemalata? What happened? If you don't say the answer, then I will have to put you out. Either message or speak. Vinshika has answered because it was irrelevant for the slum children. Okay, that's correct. Hemalata, what happened? Are you present? At once the answer should come, either through message or verbally it should come. Okay. Next question. Why does the poet say that these people are tempted to steal? Why does the poet say that the people of the slum are tempted to steal? They are tempted to steal. What is the reason? They are tempted to steal. Why are they tempted to steal? Who can answer? Joshita. Joshita, can you answer?
Are shelters like other people, sir. Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear. Please speak.
Sir, because the slum children don't get education or food or shelter like other people, sir.
So they don't get food or shelter like other people, and when they see others having expensive things, they are tempted to steal. Okay, so that's the correct answer. Very nice. Let me ask you one more question before I proceed. The question goes to Purani. Purani, please tell us the way in which the poet is describing the undernourished children in this stanza. How does the poet describe the undernourished children of the slum in this stanza? Purani. Hurry up, please. What happened, Purani? Don't waste time. Purani is out. Okay, let somebody else then say the answer. Let me ask Harish Kalyan. Harish Kalyan, can you say? How does the poet describe the undernourished children in this stanza?
Sir, they are skinny and don't know, sir.
Wonderful. So you started correctly.
Yes, sir, they are skinny and some of them are affected with diseases due to
See, they wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass like bottle with stone. Okay, so that is the answer. They look skinny and bony. You got it correctly, but only thing is that you didn't have sufficient words to express your answer. Okay, that is what I understand. Now let us continue with the next stanza and complete this poem today. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Break open till they break the town and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands and let their tongues run naked into books. The white and green leaves open history theirs, whose language is the sun. I did not read this stanza properly, so let me read it once more. Unless governor, inspector, and visitor, this map becomes their window and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break open till they break the town and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands and let their tongues run naked into books. The white and green leaves open, history theirs, whose language is the sun. What does it mean? See, here the interference of the governor, the ruling party can be the intervention, or the rulers, the governors, inspector and visitors, all these people must do something to develop the society, develop the people of the slum. Unless they do something, it is not possible for these people to come up to the next level. It is not possible because their life is already doomed. They are in the foggy slum. Always there is no light. Okay, here it does not refer to the light of the electricity. Okay, there is no wealth, there is no progress. So these people, governor, inspector and visitor, these people should do something. If they don't do it, this map represents the world of the rich that is portrayed there. Becomes their window only. So what happens, through the window you only look outside and enjoy and have some dreams, that's all. So this map becomes only their windows, that's all, only windows. Through the window you can only see. You cannot go and become part of that mainstream of the society. Okay, like that of the rich people. So what happens? This map becomes their window and these windows shut upon their lives like catacombs. What do you mean by catacombs? Catacombs, all of you know if you know the meaning. Nobody knows if you don't know the meaning. Okay, catacombs means the place where the dead bodies are buried. You have catacombs in Egypt where you have mummies. Okay, mummies refer to the place where the kings were buried in Egypt. Okay, in class 11 you studied about the King Pharaoh. Okay, King Pharaoh in the lesson Tutankhamun. So they were all buried there in the Valley of King. It is called the Valley of King where the dead bodies are buried. So it is a tomb. It is always dark. So that shut upon their lives like catacombs means in the tomb, after it is buried, the body is buried, there is no light. So it is only darkness, 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 darkness. Break, oh break, till they break the town. Till some good is done to them, these people should speak for themselves, and the governor, inspector, visitors, these category of people also should contribute their share to raise their level up. If they don't show their responsibility, and if these people don't try to come up in their lives, at least by themselves, life is going to be very difficult to follow. That's the meaning of break, oh break open till they break the town. And show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands. So their life also should be exposed to luxury, and education, wealth, etc. And let their tongues run naked into books. The white and green leaves open. What's the meaning? Let them also study like the others. Okay, we are all having online classes. We are all enjoying. Okay, but there are students, there are children studying in government schools who do not even have mobile phone. They don't have online classes. Okay, if we go to find out the government schools, etc., and they don't have even mobile phones. Okay, there are people without the facilities. Okay, so what does the poet say? They should also be given the privilege. The government should do something. Okay, the NGOs, you can also say the visitors, inspectors. Okay, they can also be, NGOs, non-governmental organizations, volunteers. They have to come forward to do something for these people. If all these things are done, they will also be able to come up like that of the other other part of the society. Run naked into books means they should also be able to study. History theirs whose language is the sun. Anybody under the sun can make history. Anybody under the sun can make history if they are given the opportunity. That's the meaning. History theirs whose language is the sun. Sun can also represent education. Anybody who is educated can make history. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to be a person of immense erudition. What do you mean by immense erudition? You don't need to be a man of great learning or a woman of great learning. If you do something for the society, if you are educated, if you also contribute to the society like that of the others, you can also make history. History theirs whose language is the sun. Okay, so this is how the poem is ended, and we'll talk about this poem once more to deal with the literary devices in the forthcoming classes and conclude. Please note down the questions or doubts if you have any, and I will clarify them. Okay, and now if there is any question, you are free to ask. If there is no question, you are free to leave. Bye bye.